It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. The best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. Go to the casinos in Lincoln or in Omaha to place your bets in person. And you can go to warhorsecasino.com or download the Warhorse Casino app to get all the promotions they've got going on. They've always got cool stuff going on, not just at the sportsbook, but at the casino in general. And you can get a full list of details and house rules. DB, you know who I've been making some money on recently besides your picks?
And you know what? I'm not going to be perfect, but 2 out of 3 on Friday wasn't bad.
Not bad.
Jacksonville State was early.
That's right.
I was on the show.
You were on that one.
West Virginia.
Got West Virginia.
Did not get UNLV. I knew UNLV was getting a little greedy.
You got a little greedy on UNLV.
But ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 will make you money.
2 out of 3. And Jacksonville State was easy,
Oh.
fast. Like I said that right away. That was the one in the morning.
Yeah.
You're like, who? And I'm like, Jacksonville State.
Yeah, cash money. That one was a
Jacksonville State.
no sweat for sure. You know
What was that final?
Like 41 something, 40 something? They got after it.
Yeah.
I don't remember the number, but it wasn't close. You know I've been making up money on though? We talked about him with Russell.
The Panthers.
The Panthers.
Yeah. They actually look pretty functional.
They look
so yesterday it seemed like the lines were inflated.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't have a good feel on anything. Like Verzal asked me yesterday and I just was like, the only thing I feel good about is blank, and I went and looked and I'm like, why is there so much movement?
I got a couple yesterday.
Was it injuries?
I don't know. There were a lot of injuries. Yeah. And I think the lines were weird because you had a couple good teams on their buys last week as well, or this week as well. But there's besides the Panthers, that one was minus 13.5, which pretty much any time they're a double-digit dog the last month or so, I just take them. I made money off them against Kansas City. I made money off them against the Philly as well. The other one that I made, I've also been fading Kansas City a little bit because
have they been getting big numbers?
They were 4 against the Chargers, but I was like, I think the Chargers either might win outright or it's probably going to be another one of those weird Kansas City games. Was able to cash that one as well. Like there's a couple teams I feel okay about betting on right now in the NFL, which, I'll take at this point in the season. There's a lot of teams I don't feel like I know anything about at all. And my 49ers are one of them. but because the 49ers, I think, were 4.5, 5 against the Bears this weekend.
So
maybe it got up to 5.5.
That's where I was with Brett. So I didn't see a lot of that.
I mean, it was a beating. It looked as bad as the numbers were, as bad as the score was.
And we still think that Chicago job's a good job.
I don't know. I think
it's gotta be.
Does it?
Yeah, you're talking about front office.
Right? I'm talking about franchise. Yeah, same reason. Like the Jets' job. Like let you take Aaron Rodgers out of it, right? Because I think he's a weirdo and kind of washed at this point. But that's one of the better rosters in all football. You know why I don't trust it? Just a terrible franchise historically. Franchises that don't get it right tend not to get it right. Like, it seems like a no-brainer, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like usually all of a sudden you don't have a franchise unless there's an ownership change or something like that, like major. That's why Houston was so shocking to me with the DeMeco Ryans situation. That was a kind of a dumpster fire of a situation at the end of Bill O'Brien, and then they hired Lovie Smith for God knows why. And then all of a sudden DeMeco Ryans comes.
Why the Lovie hate?
Because he got fired at Illinois and then he got an NFL job.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at him and Cliff Kingsbury. Those are the guys. Those are the 2 guys it's happened to.
Ravi Lulla here for out on Cliff.
It was not as an offensive coordinator. You can keep him as an OC.
Well, speaking of Cliff, how about the one that Cousins has fallen off of?
Yeah. I think, I don't know what to do with them because you're 1 game back in the division, but you were obviously trending in the wrong direction. Like at some point, do you pull the parachute and say, hey, Penix, let's give it a go?
I don't know, but I do feel good about what I said when they drafted Penix, and it wasn't just because I like him.
What's that?
He only has to sit a year.
Yeah, maybe not even that.
Oh.
If you want something to bet on, I would bet that Michael Penix starts a game before the end of the season. Is that crazy?
Confidence shot?
Cousins?
It's a bad stretch.
I don't know, man. I don't know
if it's his worst stretch, but over 3 weeks it might be.
He's been really, really bad, and I don't know. Like, it's really hard to tell at that age if it's confidence, if it's physical, coming off that injury. Like, I have no idea. He looked a little rough to start the year. He didn't look like this, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bad deal. I don't know much about what Kirk Cousins is going through. I will bet on Michael.
Do you want his last 5 games?
Yeah, let's do it.
3 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
That's bad. No matter how you slice it. There is no good way around that.
That's incredible.
His completion percentage probably still okay.
66%.
Yeah, that's because that's kind of what he does. And his yardage is probably still pretty okay. But
who's the best team in that division for you?
Best team or the team I trust the most?
Oh gosh, you always have to.
You know me, I like my I like my details.
Well, I think the answer is going to be the same.
I think I'm going to go Tampa for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you trust Mayfield.
Which is wild.
But Russell's right. They can score on anybody.
Yeah, I don't know about the
and
defense.
Quietly, they've won, 2 or 3 in a row?
Yeah, they're at 3 in a row. That's because they had, they had a rough stretch there because they started out okay, had a little rough stretch, feels like they figured it out. They're the only team in that division with plus point differential. And they're, ironically, the next closest team, not Atlanta, it's New Orleans.
So who was I looking at?
Atlanta's actually way worse than their record.
NFC West.
Yeah.
Look at the point differential.
Okay. Yeah, I'm there.
There's only one.
Yep. Seattle, the only team above.
That's it. That's plus.
Yeah. San Francisco is at dead even. They're at 0.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah.
Only
wild.
One team in that division has a plus point differential.
Arizona's -5. They're all pretty close.
Yeah. Which is why you get the
records hyper competitive.
Yeah.
And why you know what? I still think Los Angeles is the best team in that division.
So I do too, kind of.
They're the team I trust the most.
You remember when I was asking that question earlier about the 2 franchises between the Rams and the Seahawks? Because I think their trajectory is about the same.
You know what though? I trust Stafford more than I trust Geno.
Yeah, McDonald's a really good coach, and I mean obviously McVay is
right.
Too, but...
Yeah, I'm gonna call the coaching a wash. Maybe even slide edge.
No way.
I'm gonna go slide edge McVay.
I was gonna say, dude's won a Super Bowl.
No, I know, but I mean this year.
Oh,
like body of work.
Still,
body of work. Sure, it's McVay. But this year, I think McDonald's done as good of a job as McVay has.
Yeah, I'd probably give. Although
the injuries,
the Rams were addressing a JV squad.
Yeah, the injury situation with McVay, that's why I said slide edge McVay. They've had to deal with more. But so I go slide edge McVay on the coaching, and I go huge edge Matthew Stafford. And I don't think the rosters are appreciably different, talent-wise.
Young defenses, boy. I'm telling you, Seattle's physical.
They are. They're tough to play. That's a tough team to play. That's not a team you're going to have a lot of fun with. But I still think the Rams are the best team in that division. I'd bet on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
They dug themselves a hole, though.
I'm probably inclined to agree with you.
Is there any other? So here's I wanted to ask Russell about this, and we didn't get to it. But it's about your Pittsburgh Steelers. There are 3 teams in each conference with double-digit wins. The Steelers are one of them. They are the only one we don't talk about at all in that category, right? Because we talk about the Bills like that, right? They're coming off the loss this weekend, but we talk about the Bills that way.
Yeah.
We definitely talk about the Chiefs that way, although there's questions because they're like, I don't really know what they are. We definitely talk about Philly that way. We definitely talk about Detroit that way. Minnesota's the only other one, but because they got off to such a hot start, we do talk about them that way. Certainly more so than Pittsburgh. If you ask most people what Pittsburgh record was this year and they weren't paying attention, they'd probably guess they were, 8-5, something like that. 7-6.
And I know I do sometimes talk about point differential, especially today, but it's top 5 in the league.
Plus 85.
That's good for, I think if you ranked them, I think it's good for 5th in the league.
It is 5th. Yeah. There are 4 teams ahead of them. It's Minnesota and Detroit, who we talked about. Philly, not Kansas City.
Is Detroit at 100 or Minnesota at 100 yet?
Minnesota is at 99.
And Detroit's got to be well over.
Yeah, Detroit's at 183. They've got the best in the league by
183.
60 points, I think. I think the next closest is the next closest is Buffalo at 129.
180. So I wouldn't have come within. I knew it was high. I wouldn't have come within 50 points.
I didn't even think
I wouldn't have come within 50 points of that.
They're 54 points clear of second place. They're 54 points clear of second place. That's unbelievable. That is Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Real quick before we get off this segment here, tonight you've got Bengals and Cowboys. Bengals are 5.5-point favorites.
Shoot, pass. I'll come back with one, though.
I think I'm taking Cowboys as the dogs at home. That's Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook.